Hello. I have no idea what I am doing. I've never done this before. So um I have Instagram Live. This is Instagram Live. Hello. I have Facebook Live. Hello. I've never done any of this before. I'm getting these messages. Hello, Inika, and hello, Jacqueline. I've never done this before, so you know what? I'm gonna do the whole thing. Um, I hope you can hear me and I hope you can see me. I had a poll in my new online learning community called Buffiland MBE, Much Better English. And people voted, a lot of people voted, and they decided that they wanted to do this. They could choose what it was about. So it's about the glamour of grammar. And here I am in my office. Hello, Instagram. Hello, Facebook. And I've got it all set up. Like, I've never done this before, so I've got all my bases covered. Check this out. Got my tea, herbal tea, tastes like dirt. I've got my pretty little candle to make it smell really good in my office. I've got my water. And I've got my brain, obviously, because I have a lot to teach you. And check this out. I got a new whiteboard just for this. And I got one pen, two pen, three pens, three colors just for you. Investing in much better English. So I hope you can see this. If you can see this and you can read it, I have no idea if this is a mirror image or what. Can you send me a little heart or something so that I can see if you can see this? And I don't know if this is backwards or not. Like I said, I've never done this before, so let's try, right? And I've got these really glamorous things, so I can do that. Look at that, it's magic. I'm just like a magician. Call me David Copperfield. It's gone. Okay, so I want to do a little poll. Oh, lots of people have joined in. Hi, everybody. Hi. It's mirror, but you can read it on Instagram. Okay, good. So I'll try to just hold your phone up to the mirror. And if you're watching this live or if you're watching this on the replay, type in live or type in on the replay. People have told me, oh, nobody watches you live. Everyone's going to watch it on the replay. And if you have comments, I'll see them. Hopefully, I'm not really sure where I can look. I'm supposed to wave to people. Hi. Okay, so here we go. My first live lesson, lively lesson, because I'm so excited. How many of you learned English in high school? Can you give me like a little thumbs up, heart shift, smiley? I don't even know how you do that. Okay. Well, how many of you really liked learning English? I hear so many times from people, adults, we're all adults here. If you're under 14, turn off your phone and go do your Fortnite, because I will be using language that may or may not be appropriate for your age. But as adults, many people had English at school in a way that didn't work for them. And now people are adults and they have their school English that they had from many years ago, but they're in positions now where they have to speak and interact at a really high level. And that stuff you learned at high school is not enough. Let's just be totally clear. Like that stuff you had when you were 15 through 18, it got you through your teenage years. But now the playing field has changed and the expectations have changed. So now you want to speak English like a baller, like a badass. So I'm going to help you do that today. Let me tell you a tiny story about me. A lot of people ask, who are you and what do you do? just 2 seconds. My name is Buffy with an I. I know. And it's my real name. I know. My parents were hippies. Don't ask. It took a lot of therapy to accept this fact in my life. And I went to college in New York, and in New York, I graduated and I had a job, and I had this kind of boyfriend. We were on a break, but it was like a weird thing. And I had an apartment and everything was all arranged. And my parents said to me, go to Europe for 6 weeks before you start this really intense job as a therapist in the Bronx. I said, okay. Went to Europe for 6 weeks. It was 1990. I was 21 years old, and someone heard me speaking English on the train in Prague. And there were no Westerners in Prague at the time in 1990. So hearing someone speak English on public transport was weird. So everybody was listening to, like, who's this crazy girl speaking English? And someone actually came up to me on the train and they said, who are you? This is weird. And I said, well, I'm from America. Oh my God, American. Wow. Do you want to start the First Language Institute? I was 21 years old. Short story, long story, very short. I started the first private language academy in Prague when I was 21 in 1990. And then in between, I went to Barcelona for a weekend, met a really hot Dutch guy. And that really hot Dutch guy and I wrote letters because we didn't have WhatsApp in those days, kids. We hardly had electricity, 1990. And he said to me after this year of writing letters, he said, come to the Netherlands and live with me. I'm like, you're really hot and great. You're just a man. It's not enough. Can you find me a job? So he found me a job at the most prestigious language academy called the Nonnetjes van Vught, or Regina Caeli, where all the lessons are for like members of the royal family, CEOs. All the lessons are one-on-one. It's a very prestigious, excellent language program. And I was there for 11 years. And I left about 18 years ago, which was so risky. And I left to follow my dream. And my dream was to become the first personal English coach of the Netherlands. And something like this didn't exist. And everybody laughed at me and said, what is this personal coaching stuff? You're crazy. You just had a baby. And my baby just started at university. So it's insane how fast it goes. But you shouldn't, what are you going to be doing as a personal coach? That doesn't exist. We don't need it. We don't like it. We're fine without you. But I live in Buffiland, where we have gin and tonic waterfalls, and everyone is happy and everyone wants everyone to succeed and do well. And I so believed in this idea. So fast forward to today, I live my dream every single day. I work very hard. It never feels like work. I have a fantastic client portfolio. Everyone from, as of yesterday, my client, the Minister of Education, Ingrid, took the stage and gave her first speech in English after I had been working with her as part of the TEDx speakers program as a speaker coach. So I have the Minister of Education. I've worked with Linda de Mol, I've worked with Jan Dino, and I've worked with Frank Fonk, and I've worked with refugees, and I've taught at university, and I've written 4 books, and I have a world record for the world's largest English lesson. I love what I do, and I am here to make you feel and sound like a badass in English. I don't care if you want to write better songs. I don't care if you're in politics. I don't care if you're a top CEO. I work with all of those people. I give everyone 110%, and I expect the same back. So what we're going to do today is I really want you to get sorted out in your head on how to feel confident in English with grammar. So when we think about communication, many times there's so many different ways to think about communication. I'm drawing a picture on my new whiteboard. Check this out. So we have here, I'm going to show you. Okay. I'm so excited. Okay. When you're talking to someone, you have here, what are you saying? What are you saying? It's the most basic level of communication. Can you understand me? Can I understand you? if this was in Swahili, you probably wouldn't understand what I was saying. So we would stop at this level. But if we dig a little deeper, then we're going to talk about how do you say it? So what is the message? And how are you saying that message? But we're talking here about the structure of your message. And the most important thing here is why. Why are you structuring your message that way? So if you don't understand the why something is right or not, you're not going to know how to structure it. And you're not going to know how to make your message clear. So how many of you, because today's lesson is on the glamour of grammar, how many of you sometimes struggle when it comes to the grammar issues? How many of you get confused about which word or which tense to use? Can you give me a wave or a heart? I have no idea how to. Oh, someone's waving. Hi. Hey, hi. Oh, there's heart. Yay. I don't even know how to do this. Okay. So it seems, according to what I'm seeing, that a lot of you do get confused about grammar. So let me clear some stuff up. First of all, there's people following from everywhere. But if you happen to be Dutch and from the Netherlands, kind of don't compare to Dutch for the next part of this lesson. If you try to translate English grammar structures in the past tense, especially into your own past tenses, it's a train wreck, babe. It's a train wreck. You're asking for trouble. So let me help you understand some stuff. And I'm going to do it with my fabulous timeline. I love my timelines. If you have, oh, look. In this book, Rock Your English, I've got like these kinds of timelines make all the difference for grammar. Grammar is a very vague concept, and many people are visual learners. When I wrote this book, I included lots of different ways to learn. Most teachers teach in only one way. I think to be a good teacher or a good coach, I think you need to be flexible in how you explain things. Some people learn from listening, and some people learn from drawing, and some people learn from doing it themselves, and some people learn from activating or repeating. And a good teacher has all the tools in their toolbox in order to teach and make a connection with every single student in that classroom. If you worked with a teacher who only had one way of teaching, and that wasn't your way of learning, you were screwed because there wasn't that bridge. So when I first wrote my book, I didn't realize this, but afterwards I got a lot of mail from people who were dyslexic. And they said, this is the very first time we understand grammar because we can visualize the picture. That proved to be quite helpful. So I'm going to be using that today, my little timelines, as a way to explain some things. Okay. Let me show you this beautiful masterpiece that check that out. Now, this is a timeline. And this, when I see this picture, I think, okay, A, I can't draw, like don't give up the day job. But B, this is what I work looks like. The present tenses, we have two possibilities. I work or I'm working. I live, I'm living. I study, I'm studying. I teach, I'm teaching. I'm streaming live or I stream. This one is for the one without the ing, just to keep it simple. It's called the present simple. Big fat secret, you never have to know the name. I mean, you do for the tests, but in real life, you don't. No one says, oh, I'm having trouble with the present simple. Like grammar teachers speak that way. Real people say, oh, is this the ing or not the ing? And that's how I teach it in real life. So when you have I work, I study, first of all, let's talk about the structure. And then I'm going to explain this. Okay. So we have here, it's really simple. I work, I don't work, and, oh, how do I do it here? And do I work? Can you see it? How do I get that there? Do I work? Okay. With he, she, and it takes the S. So I've created, this is why children cannot watch my lessons. I've created the shit rule. She, he, and it take the S. I work, she works. I don't work, she doesn't work. I study, he doesn't study. So there's an S in there. How is this used? It's used for lots of things. People say this form is used 80% of the time. It's for something that started in the past, comes up to now, and continues into the future. And these dots tell you that it's coming back again and again and again. So it can be, for example, every day I wash my hair. Once a week I go on vacation. Every Friday I have pizza, which is so true. Tonight is family pizza night, and we're going to eat that pizza and have so much fun together. Once a year I go on vacation. Every Tuesday I work out, etc. These dots tell you that it comes back again and again. And this arrow tells you we don't expect it to end or change. So when you're talking about your job, when you talk about what you do, the stuff that you do every time, you're not going to use the ing. If it's something that we don't expect to end or change, you don't use the ing. So my name is Susan. I'm responsible for marketing at my department. A lot of people are going to say, oh, you just said marketing. Yeah, but marketing is the word. I'm responsible for means there's no ing. What do you do? I teach English. That's what I do. I happen to be teaching English now. That's different. But I teach English. So this form called the present simple, I work, I study, I live, is for habits, hobbies, and permanent situations, things that we do not expect to end or change. So when you say to me, we produce high quality products, like let's say you make these pens. And if you say we produce high quality pens, that means 24/7 all the time. It will not end. It will not change. Watch out for this. If you say we have problems with our website, that means we are screwed forever and it will never be fixed. A very common mistake, especially Dutch people, is using this permanent situation to describe something that's temporary. And in English, I always teach my clients how to use grammar to their advantage to get the most out of their message. For example, something like when you say we have trouble with our management team, that means you will never, ever get better. You're screwed for life. But if you see something that says, oh, at the moment, we're experiencing temporary problems, you have just given me 3 language signals which tell me that something is going to go away. And in English and in Buffiland, we're very optimistic and we want good things to stay and we want bad things to go away. So when you say we have problems with our web shop, we have trouble with our management team, that means it will never end. It's a statement that will continue. Oh my God, I almost just lit this on fire with my candle. I'm probably going to be the first person to light a fire live during a grammar lesson on Facebook and Instagram. How awesome would that be? Okay. Good news, you don't want it to be permanent. You want it to be temporary. Good news, you want to be permanent. So good news, we produce high quality pens. My colleague always does her best. We never start meetings late. She always arrives on time. This is all good stuff. We want good news to stay, but we want bad news to get the hell out of town really fast. So let me show you how to talk about something that's temporary. We use another grammar form. Let me make you another picture. Check this out. Here we go. There it is. This is I am working. I am studying. I am streaming live to thousands of people across the interwebs. Hello, hello, hello. This tells me that something is clearly going to end. It doesn't have that sexy arrow that something permanent has. This is I work. This is I'm working. This is I live. This is I'm living. This is I study. This is I'm studying. I study. I don't study. Do I study? But I'm studying. I'm not studying. Am I studying? When you have the ing, no do or does. Remember that. Very common mistake. I'll show you here. Let me show you what people do. Do I work? Am I working? Check this out. This is what people do. So you see here, do I work or am I working? What people do is they're like this. Where do you working? I'm like, I don't work it anywhere. It's where do you work and are you working hard now, today, this week? So this ing form here is used for something only happening in or around now. And we know it's going to end. So this is the temporary and this is the permanent. So when we talk about the good news versus the bad news, when I'm working with my top CEOs and managers, again, bad news, we want it to go away. So when you say things like, at the moment, we're experiencing temporary difficulties with our management team, with our union, with our supplier, with our price range, with our web shop, that tells me it's going to go away. You're working on it and it's going to get better. So bad news, keep temporary. Good news, make permanent. When you have the ing, I want you to think of the selfie form. The ing form in English is like the Snapchat of grammar. Yeah, that's tweetable right there. The ing form of English is the Snapchat of grammar. Just made that up. Hope you like it live right now for all my thousands of viewers. It only tells me what's happening right now. It doesn't tell me what was going on before. It doesn't tell me what's coming. It's only for right now. So if I say, I live in Utrecht, I live in Boston, I live in Sheffield, I probably lived there yesterday, and I'll probably live there tomorrow. You never know. We have terrorism. We never know for sure what's going to happen. But if you say, at the moment, I'm teaching English, or someone's drinking coffee, or someone's walking in the rain right now, that's only for now. And I assume it's going to end. So it's a snapshot. It's the Snapchat of what's happening right now. So this is more like a movie, and this is more like the Snapchat selfie form. Okay. I want to talk to you about a special word, and that word is always. Always. We know it as feminine hygiene, but it also has another function in English. Let me show you. Okay. So, like I talked to you before about good news versus bad news, when we have good news, we want it to be permanent. So, for example, my colleague, I mean, I have no colleagues. I'm a one woman show. But let's say I had a colleague. I would say he always arrives on time. He always does his best. He always responds quickly to my email. This is all good, 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 good. I can also use always for bad news with the ing. How awesome is that? Grammar teachers get very excited about this. If you want to give criticism to somebody and you still want to sound polite, this is how you do it. You say, oh, you're always smoking in the car. Maybe you should stop. Or you're always driving to work. Maybe you should take the train. Or she's always forgetting to turn off the light when she goes home. That sentence was not about me, by the way. So when you have bad news, criticism of someone else or of yourself, always plus the ing means it's bad news, it's criticism, but it's still polite. When you say to someone in English, oh, you always smoke too much, what you're saying is it's never going to get better. It's actually really negative. And some people would think quite insulting and quite direct. But if you say, oh, you're always smoking in the car, God forbid if you do, that's terrible, but maybe you should stop. Always plus the ing is criticism of someone else. And you can also use it for criticism about yourself. So you can also say, I know you're perfect, but just lie for a minute. And let's say you wanted to give criticism about yourself. You could say, oh, I'm always forgetting to turn off the lights when I go home. Or I'm always losing my keys. Or I'm always driving too fast. I am Lewis Hamilton on the inside. And once a month, the police send me fan mail and they're like, sweetheart, you're still not Lewis Hamilton. Like, don't give up your day job. So I'm always driving too fast because I'm in a hurry. I got shit to do and people to see and grammar to teach. So when you want to give a criticism, use always plus the ing form. You'll be polite, but you'll still be critical. It always works. No one will slap you in the face for being rude. We have other words that are called adverbs of frequency, and that's sexy talk for how often something happens. So we have always, we have words like sometimes, never, usually, often, rarely, etc., etc., etc. Those are never used with the ing form, ever. You cannot say in English, I'm sometimes going on vacation. Can't. I mean, you can, but it's wrong. You can say whatever you want, but it's wrong. You cannot say, I'm never going shopping on Friday. Doesn't work. All of those adverbs of frequency, sometimes, usually, always, never, etc., they all stay without the ing, except for the always. It's the only one that can go with the ing, and it's only used for criticism. So how are you doing? This is the first part. There's more. But is this okay? Are you understanding? I see like things happening. This is nice. There's a lot of you joining in. All right. Let me see here. I'm moving the phone just so I can get, okay. What I want to do now is I want to talk for a moment about the past tenses. We have 6 different forms of the past. Oh, I see someone saying, oh, now I understand it. I always got it wrong. Yay! That's why I'm here, is to make you feel like a rock star in English and clear up all of these little tiny mistakes. Now, I'm only going to talk for another half an hour or so. I can do days about this, and I am. In March, I have an English Confidence Boost Camp. 2 days of fun and games with me, going through all of this stuff and so much more. Also writing, pronunciation, vocabulary. If you're interested in that, I'm not going to talk about it much here. Just send me a little DM. I'll send you information, answer all your questions. But if you want a good start in English to feel really confident, because that high school English is not enough and nobody has given you feedback in 20 years, uh, let me help you make it better. Because how great would it be if you walked into a room and you knew you've got your shit together? You know you have eliminated your mistakes. You feel so confident to work and network and meet new people and talk about your work and use the right phrases and the right grammar so that you don't stand there speaking like a high school student when you're an adult. You're an adult. You have matured. So your English has to mature as well. And the stuff you learned at school, it got you through school. It's not going to get you through the rest of your career. Believe me, I've been doing this maybe since before you were born. My first English lesson was in 1986. Long time ago. Long time ago. Past tenses. We have 6 forms. Send me a little message. Do you know, can you give, if we have the verb to work, what are some of the ways you can conjugate? How sexy is that? Conjugate the verb to work. What can we do? Give me a form. Let's see. Okay, we can say, I worked. You can say, I was working. You can say, I have worked. You can say, I have been working. You can say, I had worked. And you can say, I had been working. 6 different forms. I will repeat them again. I worked with ED. I was working. I have worked. I have been working. I had worked. I had been working. There we go. Good news and bad news about the past tenses in English. Bad news. If you're Dutch, you're screwed. Don't think in Dutch. It is the completely opposite to your feeling in Dutch. We're going to talk about why in a moment. The good news is out of those 6 forms, which are all, explained in detail in my book, which you can get or not, up to you. It's also in libraries. Steal it from the library. My book is the most stolen book from the University of Hasselt in Belgium. I'm very proud of that. I got a message from the librarian once saying, your book just keeps getting stolen. And I think as a teacher, that is the greatest honor I can have, is that people are stealing my books. Just grab it somewhere. The good news is that out of those 6 forms, 2 of them are not used a lot. And that's I had worked and I had been working. We're not going to talk about that so much today. I don't have that kind of time. We will talk about it in my confidence workshop, but not so much today. So I'm going to make another fantastic timeline. And now check this shizzle out. How, am I like Picasso or what? Just like, call me Van Gogh. All right, let me show you what's going on with the past tenses. Okay. Okay. I also have really bad handwriting, as you can see here. I know for Instagram it's in mirror image. I don't know how to fix this. I have never done this shizzle before, yo. If someone has tips on Instagram how to make this, is it in mirror image in Facebook? I don't think so. Okay. I can't really see all the comments. There's a lot happening, but I'll check that later. Okay, let's look here. This is now. Wait, here I am. This is now. This is the past and this is the future. So like if you're on Instagram, it's like a time warp. It's like the past and future are all mixed up. So like you're in this weird time warp zone. Just bear with me. This is now. This is the past. This is the future. We're focusing on the past. So there's more room over here. So if I said, for example, I worked hard yesterday, and I really did. I do every day. Never feels like work, but I was at TED, working with the Minister of Education, working with Jessica, top model, working with the most incredible women on the planet, helping them shape and share their story as their presentation coach. And I will be doing a live lesson on all my tips and tricks as a senior presentation coach at another time. I started at 8 in the morning. I finished at 10 at night. I worked hard yesterday. Actually, it's not true. I finished at 11 at night. And my wonderful assistant, Inika, who has tuned in. Inika, I adore you. Thank you for coming and thank you for driving me home. Without you, I am nowhere. Hire people who are smarter than you. Tip number 1. I started at 8. I finished at 10. This whole situation is over, finished, history. You'll see there's no connection to now. What I want you to do is I want you to think of now. Here there's a door. The door is closed. It's closed. You're only remembering what's already happened. It's a flashback. It's a memory. You're looking back on what's happened. There's no connection to now because this door is closed. And that's when we talk about the past simple or the simple past tense. So something like, I worked hard yesterday. I studied last night. I went on vacation in 1997. God, I hope you've gone on vacation since then. I saw my friend yesterday afternoon. I had dinner with my uncle on Thursday. I saw a movie on Friday. When you're talking about something that started and finished in the past, you're going to use this form, I worked. The situation is over, it's finished, it's a flashback, it's a memory. So the grammar for this, the structure for this, let me show you. Okay. Check this out, Joe. Positive, I worked. I worked hard yesterday, positive statement. Negative, I didn't work. The good news is there's no shit rule. She, he, and it also take didn't. So everyone in the family is happy. I didn't, you didn't, we didn't, they didn't. But what you have to watch out for is here. Is the ED? Is it here? No. Don't be that guy that says I didn't worked. Don't be that guy. I want you to say I didn't work because this is already in the past. So I didn't worked is double past. Losers talk like that. Don't be a loser, man. Come on, man. I want you to be cool. I want you to speak like the cool kids. Questions. Did I work? Same thing. The only time you put a verb in the past actually is when you have a positive statement. I worked, I didn't work, did I work? I studied, I didn't study, did I study? We have in English regular and irregular verbs. In Dutch, you call them strong and weak verbs, which I think is really sad because you're labeling these verbs as weak. They didn't do anything, and they've got this stamp of like, we're weak. No matter how much they work out, they will never be as strong as the strong verbs. I don't understand that. But in English, we have regular verbs. We have 155 of them. Yes, I'm so nerdy. I actually sat and counted them. They are all in the back of my book, and you had this stuff at school. This is when you had to memorize, choose, chose, chosen, speak, spoke, spoken. Look, doesn't this ring a bell? Those were the days, right? There's no logic as to why It's speak, spoke, spoken, choose, chose, chosen, go, went, gone, have, had, swim, swam, swum. I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger. There's no logic or theory. You just have to memorize that. So if it's an irregular verb, that means it will not take the ed. It's I worked and I went. I don't know why. Welcome to grammar. Hello. But the good news is this is actually the same for regular or irregular verbs. So if we have to go would be like this. So I didn't go, did I go? Okay. Check out my awesome handwriting. I went here. I didn't go, did I go? So if you look at this, you're going to see for negatives, it's the exact same structure if it's regular or irregular. I didn't work and I didn't go. Did I work or did I go? For questions, it's the same. So the only time you need to freak out about how to conjugate that verb, if it's regular or irregular, if it's positive, that's the only time you have to worry about that form. So that's kind of like good news in some other messy news. Oh, thank you for all your hearts. You guys are awesome. Never done this. No, I mean, totally spontaneous, but I love it so far. Okay. So like I said, this is something that's started in the past and finished in the past. But let's say, so my example here is I worked hard yesterday. But let's say I want to talk about something really, really, really specific. And I talk about my lunch break, which was between 12 and 1. Actually, it's not true. I didn't have a lunch break yesterday. But you could say, someone said, oh, I called you at 12:30. You didn't answer the phone. And you could say, oh, yeah, I was having lunch. You were in the middle of having lunch at that specific moment. So I'm not talking now about that whole big period of time I worked hard yesterday. I'm now talking about a moment in that period of time, a very specific moment of what I was doing at that time. It's almost like a Snapchat about a specific moment in the past. So guess what? You're going to use the same form, not I am working for right now, but I was working at that time. When you were in the middle of an activity at a specific time in the past, and this is used a lot on the phone, you're going to say, I was plus ing, I was working, I was eating, I was walking my dog, I was talking to a friend. Or we were, you were, they were. Okay. Oh, Aquato, I know that you know this, honey, because you were my student, but there's thousands of people I haven't seen that yet. Oh, you know, it's in mirror image. I love these messages coming through, but I'm not going to be distracted by all your hearts and all your comments because I have lesson to teach, like right now. So people ask me, what's the difference between I worked and I was working? Just to visualize, I worked hard yesterday. I was having lunch at 12:30. People are going to say to you, you know what? I called you yesterday. You didn't answer your phone. I said, oh, sorry. I was watching a movie. My phone was off at a specific moment. Or someone's going to say, oh, I was waiting for your app and you didn't app me back. Yeah, I'm really sorry. I was having a meeting at that specific moment. So that's the big difference between I worked and I was working, or I went and I was going. You can also use it in a different way. So you can say, for example, I went to school yesterday. Great. You can also say, I was going to school yesterday when I heard a loud noise or I saw an accident. Because you were in the middle of that activity and you saw something that stopped you or interrupted you. So this is used a lot when with storytelling. For example, while she was reading her book in the library, a door slammed shut. Or while the Titanic was sinking, he screamed for help. And there's key words you can listen for, like while and as and when. So while I was driving to work, I saw an accident. When I was driving to work, or as I was driving to work. While, when, and as are indicators that you're going to talk about something that you were doing and something stopped you or interrupted you. And those things that stop you or interrupted you are not used in the ing. So while I was walking in the park, I found a wallet in the street. Or while I was talking to my friend, my phone rang. And there's another way you can think about this. You can say, for example, when I got to the party, everybody was dancing. Or when I got to the party, everybody danced. So if you say, when I got to the party, everyone was dancing, that means when you walked in, they were already dancing before you walked in. But if you say, when I got to the party, everybody danced, that means they were polite and waited for you and started to dance when you walked in. Another example is when I got home, the phone was ringing, like your landline. Nobody has that anymore. Ask your grandmother. But there were days before cell phones where we had phones that plugged into the wall. How cray-cray is that? But you could say, when I got home, the phone was ringing. That means the phone started ringing before you got home. Or when I got home, the phone rang. That means it didn't start ringing until you got home. Like they waited for you, like they were watching you and they waited until you got home and then they called. So you got a stalker, basically. Like grammar can tell you a lot about your personal situation. Okay, another grammar form I want to talk to you before we close our lively lesson, which I'm actually really enjoying. I've never done this before. I know Instagram darlings, I know it's mirror image. Don't know how to fix it. If you do, let me know. And Facebook, oh, even the stuff that I learned at Cambridge is not enough. Oh, I really, I like all these comments. There's been many comments and I can't really get to them all right now because I don't know how. I'll figure that out. I'll watch my own replay to figure out how to do this. As long as, you know, if there's one person who learns one new thing, my day is made. Unlike my bed. I don't think I made my bed today. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about where Dutch people go wrong all the time as far as grammar goes. So if we've got this, I worked hard yesterday. I'm going to change the picture. I hope you can see it. Now we're talking about something that started in the past, comes up to now, and gives me a future feeling. Remember before I talked about a door and I said, here the door is closed. Here the door is open and you are walking through. It is something that is not finished. It's still going on and it still relates to now. And that's what we call the present perfect. And the present perfect is called that, not because it's perfect, but it's still connected to the present. That means it's not finished. I worked hard yesterday, but I have worked for my company for 2 years. I have worked. It's not done. I have studied. I have lived. I have been interested in music my whole life. I have been in love with the bass player from Metallica for like 6 years. If any of you are watching And if you can set me up on a date, I've cleared this at home. It's all good. If you can get me a date with the bass player of Metallica, I'll give you a free whiteboard. I'll buy you like 5 whiteboards with like 7 pens. It's yours. But when you talk about something that started in the past and is still going on, you're going to use have or has. I have, you have, we have, they have, he, she, it is has. And then to make it even freakier, you're going to use the third form of that irregular verb. So we have choose, chose, chosen, speak, spoke, spoken. You're going to take the third one. Go, went, gone, the third one. I have lived. I have studied. I have been interested in. I have talked to. I have listened. I have worked. The problem is twofold. One, when a native speaker speaks, they're going to say, oh yeah, I've lived here for 10 years. And they're going to say, I have lived there, but they're going to swallow that have. It's going to be, I've lived here. I love your messages. Thank you, but I can't read them. They're very nice what you're saying. Thank you so much. Welcome to everybody. Thank you. Great to have you here. I'm not reading your messages because I get distracted and then I want to answer you back and I don't know how. A native speaker will say, I've worked here for 5 years. And they're really saying, I have worked here for 5 years. But you don't always hear it. It's, I've worked here. So it's, so many people who don't have English as their first language don't hear the have. And they hear, I worked. They wrap their ears around what they can understand. You don't wrap your ears on what you can't hear. And if you can't catch it, you're going to get the wrong interpretation. So when you say, I have worked here for 5 years, it means you're still there. The second problem is if you're Dutch, you're going to think, ik heb daar gewerkt. Oh, it is over. Ik heb daar gewoond. I have lived. Ik heb daar gewoond. Oh, it is afgelopen. It's the opposite to your feeling. This is when I say in Dutch, if you think in Dutch, you're actually going against your normal feeling. That's where Dutch people have a big problem with this. I totally get it. So just think in English and you'll be fine. Try not to compare because it goes against your natural feeling. So I worked is for something that's over. I have worked is for something that's still going on. And we're going to use key indicators like I have worked here for 5 years, for 5 months, for 5 days. We're going to use for to talk about the period of time. So for is going to be here. When we talk about how long have you lived in your home, how long have you had your bicycle, how long have you been married, how long have you been interested in football? If you use for, you're going to talk about the period of time. And for is usually followed by a number. So 5 days, for 5 years, for 5 weeks, for 5 months, for 5 minutes, even for 5 seconds. It's all still going on. And we use for to talk about the period of time. However, if we want to talk about when it started, then look at that. Look what I just drew with my shitty handwriting. Then we're going to talk about since. Since Monday. I have had a headache since 3 o'clock. Not true. Thank God. I have known him since 2012. I have lived here since March. I have worked for that company since February. Since is for the day, date, or time something started, and it's only used for things that are still going on. Wrap your head around that. So you cannot say, I worked there since Friday. Doesn't work. Since is for things that are still going on. Since is for the day, date, or the time. And for is for a period of time. For is followed by the number for 5 years, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 minutes, 5 seconds. And since is for the day, date, or time something started. So you can never say in English, since 2 years. Not possible. Since 5 months. Not possible. I hear that used a lot. That's a very typical mistake I want you to stop doing. Do me a favor for my 50th birthday, which happened months ago, but for my 51st birthday coming up soon, I guess, don't make that mistake anymore. Okay, so just to wrap up, I worked is for things that started and finished in the past. I worked really hard yesterday. I was working is for a very specific time in the past, that Snapchat slice of an activity that you were doing at a specific moment. At 12:30, I was having lunch yesterday. And when you want to talk about things that are still going on, you're going to use have or has. I have worked there for 5 years. I have worked there since 2013. I'm not good at math. I just made up those numbers in my head. I hope they work out. And to talk about what we did earlier, permanent versus temporary. Permanent is I work in Utrecht, and temporary is I'm working really hard right now. Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up, and I'm seeing like hearts and stuff and waves. I'm so happy to welcome you all, Instagram and Facebook. And if you have a question, I want you to send me a DM. I so want to help you. I will watch this replay and I will get all of your DMs. I just have never done this before, and I don't know how to respond because I've got my phone and my laptop going, and I just don't know where to start. But can you give me a little heart if you learned one new thing today, or like a thumbs up or a wave? I don't know how you can let us know. I see things. Yay. Hi. Oh, from Belgium. Hi. Nice. Thank you. Welcome. Okay. Thank you for your kindness. Like I said, my style is very rock and roll. You know, I got my tattoos, more are coming. And I have, you know, my hair and my crazy energy. But I truly love teaching English, and I'm the biggest grammar nerd you'll ever meet. I know what I'm talking about. It's just in a crazy package. And the passion that I have for teaching, whether it's doing something like this or face-to-face coaching or my master classes, the love that I have because I'm blessed to work with the most incredible people. I hope that you realize that I doing something like this, I'm so excited because it's going to open up whole new doors. And someone actually said to me yesterday, they're like, okay, you need to start podcasting. If you think that's interesting, let me know. Maybe you can replay this and like walk your dog, and then it's going to be like a podcast. Maybe that's going to happen. I don't know. Like I said, the English you had at school is not enough to get you through, to help you feel really confident in English. Some of you have very high-powered jobs. I work with some of the biggest CEOs in the country and in Europe for multinationals, clients in parliament, big, intense career people. They all realize that what they had at school is not enough because now the game has changed. Now you have to make deals. Now you have to break deals. Now you have to give presentations. And so many people feel very, very stupid when you're so good at what you do in your own language. And you have to do that in English. Some people feel very small and they feel very stupid. And I know exactly what that's like because I had that when I first came to the Netherlands. I'm very intelligent in my own language, but when I had to learn to speak Dutch and order something in a restaurant alone or go to the supermarket by myself, I was terrified to make a mistake because my intelligence did not come through in my communication. And that's terrifying. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why I have in March this 2-day, totally awesome, fun, and fabulous masterclass. It's an English confidence boost camp. It's just 2 days at this 4-star hotel. And we've taken care of everything from beer, wine, coffee, gluten-free, soy cappuccino, fabulous lunch, you name it, we have it. It's fantastic. It's a 2-day program where you get materials and my ebook, personal feedback. I'm keeping the group small on purpose. I want to work with everyone. I want everyone to meet each other. The most incredible people come to my workshops. And if you're interested, just send me a little DM. I'll send you the information. We have an early bird. We have an early bird that is on until December 31st. If you're interested, let me know. Happy to answer all your questions. But thank you so much. I hope you can watch the replay. You can share it with people or let people know. I don't know how, I guess this will be posted. But now I'm going to end this because we are out of time. It just ended on Instagram. I didn't know that was possible. But thank you so much for my people in MBE and Much Better English. Thank you for joining me in Buffiland. And I'm so glad that when we open those doors, we have now, it's just the first week, we have over 200 members, and my phone just dropped. And I'm so excited to work with you. I'd like to do this next week. Can you send me a message? Would you like to do this next week again with something different? I'm going to do another poll in my MBE group, and you can vote. But thank you so much for joining me. It's Friday afternoon. I think you should now turn off your computer and go use good grammar in a bar and have fun and enjoy. And thank you so much for joining me. And I see so many. Thank you so much. I love your energy too. I love your enthusiasm too. There's been a lot of things going on, but thank you. I've never done this before, and I thank you for experiencing this with me, and I look forward to working with you again. Any questions, send me a message. I will respond. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Use good grammar, and now go. It's gin o'clock. Okay. Bye, everyone.